Here's the very latest. Pete Hegseth has just ordered every American general and admiral to abandon their posts and report to Quantico, Virginia next Tuesday morning. All 800 of them, from war zones, from allied commands, from bases around the world. No agenda given, no explanation, just show up. This has never happened in American military history. On Tuesday morning, there'll be no American admiral in the Pacific. There'll be no general in South Korea, no commander in Eastern Europe. For several hours, the entire command structure of the United States military will be in one room in Virginia. Sources inside the Pentagon are using words like madness and unprecedented. One of them, only half jokingly, called it a preparation for a coup d'etat, not a coup against the government, a coup inside the military itself. There may be no American precedent for such a gathering, but there is an historical reference. On February the 4th, 1938, Adolf Hitler summoned the German military leadership to the Reich Chancellery. By the end of that day, he'd retired 16 generals, transferred 44 others, and personally taken command of the armed forces. The Wehrmacht went into that room belonging to Germany. They came out belonging to Hitler. Now look at what Hegseth has already done. He's fired the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, the Coast Guard commander, the chief of naval operations. He's mandated a 20% reduction in military leadership overall. And now he's gathering whoever's left in one room. Pentagon analysts are gaming out three possible scenarios. The first one and most obvious one is the purge. Fire everyone who won't pledge personal loyalty to Trump. The shutdown means Congress can't stop it. And by the time they're back, you've got 800 new generals who've been appointed by Trump during the shutdown. So there's no congressional approval. The second scenario is all about a loyalty test. Make them all stand up and publicly praise Trump's leadership, endorse his policies, validate his grievances. Anyone who refuses gets court-martialed for undermining civilian leadership. It's the Erdogan model. You don't need to fire them if you can break them. The third scenario, and frankly the least likely, is that there's some sort of war announcement. Lock them in a room, tell them we're attacking Venezuela or Iran or whomever Trump tweeted about that morning. It's hard to imagine that 800 people in a room means there'll be no leaks. In fact, by the time they've left the room, it's very likely Congress and everybody else would have found out what they're talking about inside. Nevertheless, each of these three scenarios ends up in the same way: a military that serves Trump instead of the Constitution. Earlier this week on the Five Stack, we had Professor Terence Goggin from the West Point Professor explaining it to us this way. The difference between Trump and Hitler: he said Hitler had the military, Trump doesn't. These generals despise him. They took an oath to defend the Constitution, not a 34-time convicted felon who called their fallen comrades suckers and losers. The German generals who walked into that room in 1938 thought they were preserving their institution. They believed they could manage Hitler, they could contain him, use him to rebuild the German military. By 1945, the survivors realized they hadn't preserved a thing. They'd enabled the destruction of their nation. Now, of course, Tuesday's gathering could be something else. Maybe it's a major security realignment. Perhaps it's a morale-building exercise, some kind of we're all in this together moment. But judging by the administration's relationship with the military, Trump called these people my generals until they wouldn't do what he wanted. He pardoned war criminals over military objections. He wanted to shoot protesters and invade Mexico. Hegseth's qualifications are getting drunk on Fox News and writing books about how the military is too woke. This is not an administration that does collaborative strategic planning. This is an administration that does performative dominance displays. They don't build morale. They demand obedience. My bet is on Tuesday morning, 800 American generals will face the same choice those German officers did. They can stand up and risk everything, and some of them might. Or they can kneel and keep their stars, and some of them might do just that. Every general has to prepare for every possibility this weekend. It would be wise to at least have a plan, not just show up and hope for the best. Trump was asked about the meeting. He said, "Why is it such a big deal?" And his vice president, Vance, called the coverage odd. It makes one feel that they're hiding something quite big. Military doctrine and American military history says never concentrate leadership. Pearl Harbor taught America this too. The entire structure of our defense is built on distributed command. Unless you're trying to break the structure, unless continuity is exactly what you don't want, you wouldn't bring 800 generals from their command posts back to one room in Quantico, Virginia. On Tuesday morning, we'll find out if the American military becomes Trump's military. And if it does, it could mean another death knell for American democracy. The night of 800 generals. Is Hegseth orchestrating a coup inside the military? I'm Zev Shalev.